everybody, this is Heather. I'm an independent demonstrator for Stampin' Up! And it looks like I'm finally connecting right. It was really weird. It was apparently going live, but my computer was telling me it wasn't, and it wasn't showing up on my computer. So I was thinking that it was correct in telling me that it wasn't going live. And so I had like 5 30-second videos of me trying to figure out what I'm doing. So looks like we're good to go now. So let me just get this pulled up so that I can see it nice and big. Get my computer muted so that you only have to hear me once. And then I think we're good to go. So I'm going to give a minute or so for everybody to catch up with me here, because I know that I had a few people saying, you're live, and I wasn't seeing it because it wasn't showing up on my computer. So it looks like we're starting to get a few people back in now, so that's good. Let's see, trying to think if I have anything great to tell you about this week. I don't really think I did anything super exciting. This weekend, my husband took me out to lunch, which was nice. We don't really get a chance to go out to lunch or dinner like very often. And so he took me out to lunch because it was the 34th anniversary of our first date. Way back when we were just babies. I was 14 and he was 16. And so that was nice. He took me out, and like I said, we don't go out that often, so it was kind of nice to get to go out and celebrate like that. My assistant ate a stamp over the weekend, I think. I got my paper pumpkin kit, and I was working on making my cards for my video for the weekend, and suddenly one of the stamps was missing, and I still haven't found it. So I'm kind of assuming that the creature in my house that insists that everything goes in his mouth probably put it in his mouth. So that was disappointing. It's the first time that I've lost a stamp, and so you know there's a little bit of mourning there, but life will go on. Let's see. Hey, Eric and Talina, good to see you. I'm glad you were able to catch up with me with all my weird antics trying to get my computer figured out. Oh, my son did help me tonight. He's not really on Facebook much, but he's kind of one of those people that he's a knower of all the things, electronics and iPhones and all that fun stuff. So I asked him, what was I doing wrong that sometimes I come and sometimes I come on in landscape, because I didn't really see what I was doing different every time. So he helped me figure out what it was that I needed to be doing, we think. And so hopefully I've got that figured out, and I'll be able to be having to sometimes do this in portrait. So that's kind of nice. Per the norm, you can probably hear my dog howling in the background because my husband's out for his run. My son is outdoor dashing, and the dog is in his crate, and he thinks he's going to die of the lonelies for that short period of time that nobody's around to play with him. So if you hear that, just know nobody is abusing him. He just feels abused for being left to be lonely. So a couple quick things for this week's drawing. I actually, let me go back to last week's drawing for a minute. Last week, Mary Paul, and Mary, if I'm mispronouncing your name, please let me know. It might be Mari, but you won the drawing last week. You won these great garden gems. They were limited edition. They're not even available anymore, and they're gorgeous. So I need your address so that I can mail these to you. You can send me a personal message here on Facebook, or a private message here on Facebook. You can also send me an email at stamphappenings@gmail.com. Either one works. And then I can pop these in the mail to you because I want you to get them. Then for this week's drawing, everybody who comments on the video, whether it is during the live or watching later on a replay, whether here on Facebook or on YouTube, if you comment, then your name goes into the drawing that I do the following, but right before the next week's video, so that I can do the drawing in the video or announce the winner in the video. So anyway, so this week's winner from last week's video is Carol Carol, I don't know how to pronounce your last name. Is it Thowens? Again, I'm sorry to just massacre names. But Carol, who I know has been watching me for a while because I've seen her comments, and so that's kind of exciting. Carol, you won some of our holiday rhinestone basic jewels. These are retiring at the end of the month, and I'm so sad to see them go because they've been a basic staple in a lot of my stamping because the colors were just so bright and very versatile. So I'm sad to see them go. My loss, your gain. You get a pack of these. I do need your address though. I don't have it. So if you want to send me a private message here on Facebook, or you can email me at stamphappenings@gmail.com with your address, then I can get these popped in the mail to you too. Okay, so those are our prizes for this week. How about if we get this turned around, do a little bit of housekeeping information, and then we get started on our cards since we got a little bit of a late start. Hey Tammy, welcome. Okay, so I'm going to turn the camera around and let's have at it. Hang on just a moment. Okay, this is so weird. I have a message on my screen telling me that the video can't go live because it's already live. Oh, see, now it wants to be... Oh, no, it's not silly. It's doing the way it's supposed to. My stuff on my desk was crooked. Oh, you guys, it's been a long afternoon. Bear with me. Okay, just a reminder, lots and lots of items are being retired at the end of the month because we've got to make room for all the new goodies coming out in the new annual catalog. Hey, Mary, welcome. Thanks for joining us. I don't know if you missed it, but you won last week's drawing, and I need your address so that I can mail your prize to you. So send me a private message here on Facebook or email me at stamphappenings@gmail.com with your address, and I can get your prize popped into the mail to you. Okay, so our different, anyway, back to the last chance items. Lots of items are being retired, and many of them are being offered at a pretty good discount, anywhere from 20 to 50% off. So now is a great time to stock up on some of those basics that you love that are going away, and also to pick up some things that you've had on your wish list for a while and just haven't had a chance to get. Give me a moment. I'm going to raise up my camera just a little bit here because I'm not picking up everything. And I want to make sure that when it comes time to make those cards, you're able to see what I'm doing. That's a little bit better. Hey, Tracy, welcome. Thanks for joining us. And I apologize to those of you who saw me keep coming on and thinking I wasn't on and starting over, and it just... You know, technical difficulties. They are what they are. Okay, so the reason for all that retirement stuff is the new annual catalog is coming out next Tuesday, and I am so excited. If you don't have a demonstrator that you're already working with, I would love the opportunity to earn your business, and if you need a new catalog, let me know, because I would love to send one to you. Lots of fun stuff in here that I can't show you until the catalog goes live on Tuesday, but I can tell you that there is a big box behind me that is filled with some of the new stuff, and I'm very excited to start playing with it. So that's what we've got going on in the Stampin' Up! World. You guys ready to start making some cards? Tonight we're going to do some fun folds. The first one we're going to do is actually a very quick and simple one. I'm really excited about it. You know what's weird is I'm seeing comments on my phone, but they aren't showing up on my computer. So if you ask me a question or say something and I don't reply, try saying it again in case I missed it. I don't know why my computer's being silly tonight, but it is. So, okay, Tracy says she's ready. So, first fun fold that I've got for you. Like I said, this is a nice, quick, and simple one, but I like it. Okay, so I have been dying to use this paper. This designer series paper, this pink cheetah print, is in our pattern party paper pack, designer series paper pack, and it is a hostess gift right now that you can get in Stampin' Rewards. When you place an order of $150 or more, or collect a few orders with some friends, then you can buy this at a discount or even earn it for free. But that's the only way to get it. So definitely something to look at before the catalog retires well, Monday's the last day of the catalog. And then you won't be able to get this paper anymore. So let's go ahead and I'll show you the card. It's got just this nice simple belly band here, and then it opens this way, and there you go. You can write your message right in there. So let's go ahead and get started on this guy. Put that back together. Okay, so first we'll do the envelope. Okay. Well, Mary, now you have won something. Isn't that exciting? I'm going to put on my glasses so I can see where I'm putting glue. Okay, so I just opened a new thing of glue, and it tends to clog up a little easier when it's new. And then you squeeze it really hard, and all of a sudden it just spits out a ton of glue when you least want it to do that. That's kind of the way my afternoon has gone, so I'm sort of concerned that that's what's going to happen again. Okay, so bear with me. Take my little needle that I keep on hand and poke in the tip just in case there's a little glue booger inside there. And yes, glue booger is the technical term. Oh, come on, you. There we go. There, we're starting to get going. It's got a little bit more glue on there now than I really wanted, but that's okay. We'll work with it. Just got to show it who's boss. Okay, now I'm going to stick this on here. Press it on really nice and cut off the extra. There's so many ways you can decorate your envelopes, everybody. You can use designer series paper like I am. You can stamp them. You can even put your envelopes, like just the flap, through your embossing machine with an embossing folder. There's so much you can do. So there's never an excuse for a naked envelope. Okay, I'm going to set that aside and let it dry. It's really kind of gluey right now. Get that pushed down really good. Oh, okay. Now I'm probably getting glue all over my work surface, so we may have some more little difficulties there, but that's okay. I'll just tear off a new piece of paper if I need to. Okay, so for the card base, here's what I did. I took an entire sheet, or one full sheet of basic black cardstock, and I scored it the long way at 4 1/4 inches. And then the short way, I scored it at 5 1/2. Then I put it in my trimmer and I cut it diagonally. So I ended up getting two card bases out of this, okay? So let me grab a piece of cardstock to show you what I'm saying. Let's say this is one piece, right? I scored it this way, then I scored it this way, and then I cut it this way from corner to corner. Okay, so that's how I made the card base, and that made 2. Then what you're going to do is you're going to fold your pieces here, fold them in these little triangles, and take the bone folder, crease your edges nice and sharp. Let's go ahead and do the inside first. And I just have a piece of basic white. And then I have a few little, I actually just cut a square of this great paper that I love. And I cut it diagonally. And Tracy, you are welcome to case it. What is it they say? Imitation is the greatest form of flattery, something like that. And I case ideas all the time. That's what we do as creative individuals. We put our ideas out there so that other people can get ideas too, right? Okay, so a little trick I want to show you. I should get my silicone mat. When I have corners like that are really tiny, I don't like it when they don't adhere down all the way. So what I do is I go ahead and I take my Seal Plus and I go over the edge. And you can see here where the adhesive goes off the edge of it, right? All you have to do is then fold it back like that underneath it. So, you know, on the back side of your paper. So it's not going to show, but then it gets that adhesive into those corners like that. So now I'm just going to go ahead and put it onto my piece of basic white, and I'm going to do the other one. Overshoot my corners like that and just fold it back. And if it doesn't bug you if the corners are up a little bit, you don't have to do it that way. It's just one of those little things that drives me nuts, and I will sit there and I'll pick at it until it's fixed. So let's see. Okay, now let's go ahead and glue this onto the inside of our card. You know me, I need to glue it down right away so I don't lose it, or so my dog doesn't eat it, apparently. Oh yeah, and he loves to come into my office and find paper that I've dropped on the floor, like cardstock that's strips that have fallen down, or, you know, extra pieces. And I'll find them chewed up all over my living room because he's such a helper. Okay, so now we've got the inside done. Now for our front flaps, I've got, there we go. This would have been just like a normal card front, right? But I cut it diagonally. Same thing with my designer series paper. Did the same thing. So let's go ahead and glue those pieces together. Fold back my extra. Okay, now looks like I cut this the opposite direction, so I've got a little bit of a lip from my blade when I cut. So I'm just taking my bone folder to flatten out that lip, and then I'll put this right here. Oops. Tell me this is cut right. Looks like I may need to cut this just a little bit more. Yep, I do. Okay, hang on. Okay, I'll bring my trimmer over here so you can see what I'm doing, so you don't think that I, you know, said I'm going off to trim something when in fact I was really going off to eat chocolate or something. Okay, so I want to cut off a little bit there, about 1/8 of an inch, I think. Just set it in there. See how that lines up. That looks like it's going to do what I want it to do. So now this one, I'll actually cut it, you know, before I put the adhesive on it. Put about 1/8 of an inch. Move my trimmer out of the way. And there's my adhesive. I'm kind of discombobulated tonight, aren't I? That's frustrating. But you know what? When you're among friends, and I feel like I am, it's all okay. Okay, there we go. I need to flatten out this little lip again on this one. Hey Marcy, welcome. Thanks for joining us. Okay, now get this one on here. You know, it always seems like when I tell you it's a quick and easy card is when I like go crazy and always have these weird little difficulties. I should quit saying it's quick and easy. I'm sabotaging myself. Okay. And now, oh no. Oh, you know what? Okay, this is easy to fix, guys. Watch and you shall learn. Okay, so I'm peeling this back up. It's gonna tear up my paper a little bit, but it's gonna be on the back side of the card, so I'm not too worried about it. If it bothers you, you could always put another piece over the back. But we're gonna fold the pieces this way because then they will fit with our triangles. So make sure your triangles are going the right direction. Let's glue this back inside here. This is why it's a good idea to lay your pieces down, you know, and just kind of test drive them before you glue them down. Okay, I'm here to teach by example of what not to do. Get these little triangle tips. Absolutely, Tracy. When no one's watching, you go boom, 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 and then when you try to tell somebody it's quick and easy, kind of like the same theory about if you go to the store and you look and look and look and can't find something, if you ask somebody where it is, you'll be standing right in front of it. Okay. Okay, so now our basic card, the card is done, okay? Well, the base of the card. Now we need to do our belly band. So let's go ahead and stamp the sentiment. And when I have a little bit bigger stamp like this, I kind of tend to like to ink it this way, doing the ink onto the stamp instead of the stamp onto the ink, because I just feel like I have a little bit better control of making sure I get ink everywhere. So now I'm going to stamp this on, and I am using the Blushing Bride ink. Get that on nice, good. You could also use your Stamparatus for this. That would make sure you got a nice solid image. The Stamparatus is great when you're using bigger stamps like this. I do recommend it. If you don't have one, definitely look into getting one because it does have a lot of different uses and it is worth the money. Okay, so now I have a little mat to put that on. Oh my goodness, did you guys hear my dog? I know, he's so neglected. Poor guy, no one ever pays attention to him. Okay, so I've just got a little bit of a border here. It's about 1/8 of an inch. And now I have my belly band. The easiest way to make a belly band is make it longer than what you actually need. So like if you were to measure this exactly, it would be 4 1/4 inches wide and then 4 1/4 inches on the back, which would be a total of 8 1/2 inches, right? But if you just like, I cut this lengthwise on the paper, so it's 11 inches long, then I don't have to worry about if everything lines up quite right. So get this on here. Don't make it too tight. If it's too tight, then what happens is it makes it hard to slide off and on. But if you make it too loose, then it just slides off and on its own, and you don't want that either. So, you know, kind of play with it. I like to figure out where I want my creases, and then I'll use my bone folder to just sharpen those creases. And then take a little bit of my adhesive, and you do want to use a stronger adhesive on a belly band, just because your belly band is going to get slid off and on the card a lot, and so you just don't want all that extra tugging and movement to pull it apart. So there we go. We've got the band on there, and it's okay that you can see that little fold over right there because we're going to cover that up anyway. So okay, now I'm going to take this piece and put some adhesive right down the middle. line it right up in the center of my card. Okay, and there we go. Now, just to give it a little extra something before we call it a day on this card, I've got my matte black dots. And I believe these are being carried forward on in the new catalog. They are not being retired. So that's good because I like these a lot. So let's see. And I just wanted a little something for interest. There's not any real specific positioning for them, but I do like to do odd numbers. And typically you want to try to go for like a triangular pattern because it draws the eye. But you know what? My theory is do it in odd or even in any pattern you like if you like the turnout. The nice thing is when you put them on there, if you don't push them down too hard right away, you can kind of position them, see if you like them where they are. If you don't, then use your take your pick tool and you can lift them right back off and reposition them. Okay, so there's our first card. Ooh, it looks like my belly band is a little bit loose. Okay, so there we go. Card number 1. We'll go ahead and put a few things away here and we'll move on to card number 2. Okay, card number 2. I really like this one. This one, yes, Phineas is going crazy because he's so neglected. I love this card because whenever I come up with a more masculine card, I'm always really pleased with myself because most of you know it's a little harder to come up with some. And so when I do, I just, I think I'm really cool. Okay, so we've got this one. This is going to be another fun fold. All 3 cards tonight are fun folds. And remember, as we're going on, ask questions, comment, even if it's just saying hi from Seattle or whatever. Make sure you comment because that's how you get into the drawing that'll be awarded next week. Okay, so this card, I used the In Good Taste Designer Series paper. Another one that I'm really, really sad to see it go. It was it had more sheets of paper in it, so it was a bigger pack, and it had all sorts of wood grains and some more masculine patterns, so it was really fun to work with. They, normally they don't keep a designer series paper pack in the catalog. They retire them after 1 year to bring in new ones, and they kept this one for 2 years. So I really can't complain that they're getting rid of it, but I still will cry. Okay, so this one, I just took some of my black baker's twine and wound it around the card to just kind of hold it shut a little bit better. And here's our fun fold. Ta-da! What do you think of that? So then to close it back up, all you have to do is you just put it under there, you put it under there, and then you take your baker's twine. You don't want it to be too tight because you want to be able to get it back on. And there you go. That's how we're going to make this card tonight. What do you think? So let's go ahead and get started. Now this one, what I did is, okay, there we go. I took a piece of early espresso cardstock and I cut it 7 3/4 by 6 1/2. So basically what I did is I took the normal measurements of a card base, which is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and I added 2 1/4 inches on each side, just because that is roughly halfway both directions. See how it does that? It'll fold up that way. So another thing that I did is, you notice how the paper kind of buckles like that? So I did take my scissors and I trimmed just the slightest little tiniest amount right off this end here. That helps. It makes it a little bit skinnier, but not so much that it's going to be noticeable in your card. Then I folded this over and I said, okay, like in my original one, there was still a little bit of a buckle. So then at that point, I just took my bone folder and folded it flat like that. That's all I had to do. So now we've made our card base. That easy. Let's go ahead and do our envelope real quick. Oh my gosh, that dog. He makes me laugh. You know, I heard a tip. Let me see if this works. Oh my goodness. Okay, so if you have a glue bottle that is having issues and not wanting to cooperate like mine was, and the glue just wasn't quite coming out, open the other end. Did you know there are two tips to your glue bottle? There's a wide tip here and the narrow tip, and typically I just use the narrow tip. But when you open up that wide tip, it makes it so it's not a vacuum. And I say that and now it's not going. But you get the idea, right? And I have glue. Whoa, see, now it's all coming out. Oh. So I'm going to take this wide tip and I'm just going to brush some of this back because that's a lot of glue. We got a lot of glue going on, people. Another tool that is nice to have, and you've seen me use it before, is my glue eraser, which I will be using when this glue dries to get rid of some of that excess. Wow! Oh, that was kind of scary there. Did you see that? Okay, so, and I was afraid that was going to happen. One big blob, but I think there was like a little blob stuck in there, so hopefully I won't have problems now moving forward. Bring some of this glue in so it doesn't scoosh out all over the sides. That's still going to be quite wet, but that's okay. And I have my strip of wood grain here. Now on the card itself, I used 3 different patterns of wood grain, and then I just picked one. Oh, that's lovely. I picked one to use on the envelope. Doesn't matter which one. So, oh, my poor doggy. Okay. Oh my gosh, I have the funniest story to tell you about that dog and my husband. So, my husband, I think I mentioned that when my golden retriever that I had before, when he passed away, it was a year in January. My husband said, no more dogs, no more dogs. He did not want another dog because I came with the dog. So when we got married, he had to put up with the fact that I had a dog. And so he did not want another one. Well, it took me over a year to finally convince him to let me get one, right? So I get this dog that he does not want, and this dog has him totally wrapped around his little paw. My husband has Mondays off, and Bill is my husband's name, by the way. I guess I could give him a name. Bill has Mondays off, and so on Monday, he often takes Phineas out to like the park or whatever. Well, he was taking him out to the river to just kind of run around and burn off some energy, and stopped at the pet store because we were out of little doggy treats. And, you know, when you're training a puppy, you need to have those on hand. So he told me, yeah, we stopped and got some treats. Well, then they came to see me at work. And not only had he bought treats, but he had bought Phineas a little harness. Okay, we already had 2 harnesses, but he bought a different one for the dog that he didn't want, right? And then, this is my glue eraser, by the way, and I'm just using this to get some of that crusty glue off there. So anyway, then I get home and I realize he bought 2 packages, 2 different kinds of treats, and the harness, and the regular treats, and another leash. So, yeah, so you can tell this dog that he didn't want has him wrapped around his little finger, around his little paw. I love it. Okay, so now we've just got our pieces that we're going to put together here. And of course, let's see, I've got all my pieces. Oh, good. I was thinking I forgot something, but I didn't. Yay me. Okay, so now I'm just taking all of my wood grains, and as you can see, I have 3 different ones. I'll show you here like this. 3 different wood grains that I'm going to put in the 3 different places on the card. And it just, again, just that tiny little margin, but it really pops on when it's up against that. See how it really pops against that early espresso? And this color right here that I'm using, this blue, is Misty Moonlight. This is another one that so many people are sad to see going, and I'm one of them, because it is one of the in colors that is being retired this year. So if you are in love with this color, make sure you stock up on it before it's gone. Next Monday's last day you can get it. Okay, then I've got this strip, got all my little pieces. It's like a little puzzle. Okay. Put this one on. That has a little lip on it, and you know how I feel about that. Oh, and with my big box of goodies that I got, I finally bought more of my foam adhesive sheets. As you know, every week I complained that I was out of them and needed to order more, and I finally got some. So good for me. Okay, putting that one in. Only, you know what I just did? I just put it on the wrong side of the cardstock. So let's put it on the correct side of the cardstock because it should be the outside of the card. And now we're going to do this one. And this one also goes on the outside of the card. Okay. Get it lined up here. All right, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the piece with my little guy relaxing. So the first thing I want to do is get out my Stampin' Blend markers. And I'm only using a few colors here. I've got my Misty Moonlight, light and dark. I have my Soft Suede, light and dark, and my Crumb Cake, light and dark. So I used the Crumb Cake to make it, oh, I guess I have to stamp him before I can color him, right? Okay. Okay, so I'm using the black Memento ink. When you're using your blender, or I'm sorry, your Stampin' Blends, you want to use the Memento ink. It is designed to work with alcohol inks, and our markers are alcohol based. Not the, I'm sorry, let me re-say that. Our Stampin' Blends are alcohol based. Our other markers are water based, and with those you want to use the why can't I think what it's called? StazOn ink. But with these markers you want to use the Memento. Okay, cleaned off my stamp, put the ink pad away. Now I'm going to use my Crumb Cake to do the hat. You know, I'm not an artist by any stretch of the imagination when it comes to color and that kind of thing. So I keep it fairly simple, and I take the areas that Stampin' Up! Has already given me that should be shaded or represent shade, and I use the dark. Then I take the light one and I color in the rest of it. And I use that to pull, I use the light one to pull the dark color in a little bit till it blends. And sometimes you can't see the blending really well right away. So go ahead and let it dry while you work on your other colors. When it soaks in, you'll really start to see that shading. And you can always go back and add more if you feel it needs more. So now I'm going to use the Soft Suede to make his little pants. Got this here. There's the edge of his pants right there. Okay. And now I'm taking the light one. Same thing I did with the hat. Pull in the color. Okay. And now I'm going to do his shirt. I'm using the Misty Moonlight. Same thing. Using the dark in areas where Stampin' Up! Has already indicated for me that there would be some shading, or the folds of his shirt, the outer edges of the shirt, just like that. And then I'm going to take the light one and pull in that darker color. I think my husband is back from his run, so my poor unloved puppy that no one pays attention to can be broken free from his jail cell. Okay, there we go. And that's all I chose to color on this. One last thing I did is I did take my my dark crumb cake. My dark, did I use this crumb cake or the soft suede? I think I used the crumb cake. The dark crumb cake, you can use it either one really. And I splattered my guy. It just makes it so the white isn't quite so stark. Gives it a little bit of extra, it tones down the white is what it does. So now I'm going to glue this on. Eric asked if I know the proof on the markers. I do not, because I have not tried to drink them, which, you know, might be surprising to you. So no, you'd have to do your own investigation on that. But please let me know what you find out, Eric. Okay, so now I'm going to take one of my foam adhesive sheets that I'm so excited to have back again. And I'm just going to cut a strip or a little piece that's going to fit in that corner. Actually in this corner up here, because I want this side to be able to lift up a little bit, and I want the bottom to lift up a little bit for when I put these flaps underneath it. So let's see. Guessing I just want about that much. Now again, make sure I'm getting it under the right corner there. Okay. I hear my husband telling the dog, okay, here I come. I'm coming to rescue you. Okay, so now hold your card shut and then go ahead and mount this on with everything shut so you have an idea of how much is getting pushed under your image. There we go. So now, if I want to open that, it just goes like that, okay? And for the final step, we're going to take the baker's twine and I'm just going to wrap it around. I made mine long enough to wrap it 3 times because I did want it to have a little bit of bulk to it. I'm going to have to move this a little bit. And I'm just tying a little knot here. Since it is a guy card, I figured a bow would probably not be quite as appreciated as just a simple knot. A little trick when you're tying your knots, if you tie a square knot, it will lay flatter. There we go. And then trim the edges so that they're, you know, about the same length. And there we go. Card number 2 in the books. And so there we go. And now I'll clean up. Oh, you know what we didn't do? We didn't finish this card. So, okay, let's figure out which one. Okay, that was my original. Forgot to do the white on the inside. And there's some stamping on the inside. Okay, so this is the piece that has a little bit of stamping. Remember, it's always best if you stamp before you glue it down. It just affords you a little bit of movement if you accidentally do something wrong. you know, you can flip over your paper if you need to. And I'm just putting in this lower corner, "It's your day." And clean off my stamp. Put away my ink pad. Thanks, Marcy. Now let's go ahead and glue this guy down. I'm shedding again. I kind of shed year round, but I seem to be shedding a lot right now, and I find hair in all of my craft projects. It's very frustrating. I'd rather it be on my head. Okay, and then I also have a white piece because maybe you want to do a little bit more of a message than just that. So I put a white piece here as well. You could just leave it if you wanted to. Let's glue this guy down. Oops. Okay. Line this up so my margins are pretty much the same. I'm having issues, guys. Okay, there we go. Now we'll close it back up again. Put our twine back around it. Whoops. And there we go. Maybe you have these little tails hanging out. There, like that. There we go. Now, I mean it. We're really done with the card this time. Good, Tracy. I'm glad that you like it. Okay, final card of the night. Oh, by the way, that last card used "a good man," and this is being retired at the end of the month. So there's a couple of sets like this that are this sketch style that are being retired. And I love this sketch style. So if you are a fan of this, I would suggest picking up these sets before they go away next week. And I forgot to mention the first card used the Happiest of Birthdays stamp set, which is being retired. And I know that a lot of people have really liked this one because of the big sentiments on it. So it's another one that you may want to snap up before it's too late. Okay, the final card we're making tonight uses the Hippo Happiness Bundle. And this one has been in the catalog for a couple of years, and it's going away next week. I really recommend getting, at the very least, the die set before it goes away, because it's got all these nesting frames that you can use on so many other cards. So even if you aren't into the whole, hippo and the butterfly and the unicorn or horse, you can still utilize these frames in so many ways. So it's definitely worth getting, even if it's just for the dies. So let me show you our card. This one's a little bit thick, so if you're going to mail it, it's going to require a little extra postage. So it might be a card that you want to hand deliver to somebody. And the one we're going to make tonight is just slightly different than this one, because I made this one with the bow, and then I got another fun idea. So I'm going to make the other fun idea, and you can decide what you like best. So here's the card on the front, sweet little hippo. And on the inside, you've got this little piece that pops out. And it just folds flat. But like I said, it does, you can see it's a little bit thick in there. So let's get started on that one. Going on the envelope. See if I can do this envelope without, putting 6 tons of glue on it. Now that I got that big old blob out, hopefully that helps. It does seem to be going on a lot better. Maybe it's a metaphor for life, that sometimes you've just got to squeeze the blob out before you can move forward. See, I should be a motivational speaker. Squeeze your blobs, people. Squeeze your blobs. Okay. Now let's cut off the extra. Okay. Cutting off all the extra here. next week, Bill is going on vacation. Well, that makes it sound like he's going somewhere. He's not going anywhere. It's a staycation, but his vacation, he had to use it or lose it. So he's taking 2 weeks off. I don't know what I'm going to do with him at home for 2 weeks. I mean, he drives me home. He drives me crazy when he's home on the weekend. What am I going to do with 2 weeks of him, you guys? Okay, so I just did my envelope. This paper is the Hearts something or other. It's in the January through June mini catalog. And it's the one with all the hearts and things like that. So it's in the kind of Valentine's section. But there's so many ways you can use this paper besides just Valentine's Day stuff. Like this card, for example. So it's another one that I like a lot. There are a lot of parts on this card, a lot of pieces. Okay, now first we have our card base, and this is just 4.25 by 8.5, so it makes a square card. I scored it in the middle at 4.25. And let's go ahead and I'm gonna go ahead and glue this down. Okay, where do we go? I've got 2 pieces like this, 2 of these. They each have, this is Gorgeous Grape, by the way. Nice, bright, vibrant purple. And then we have Highland Heather. Both of these have a Highland Heather background. So let's take care of these pieces really quick, just because we'll get them positioned and glued down. Then they're not in the way and they don't get lost or eaten by the dog. Okay, we'll glue this one to the front of the card. And I wanted my stripes to go horizontally, but you can do it whichever direction you like. I sat there and messed with it for a while. It's kind of 6 of one, half dozen of the other, but I decided to go with horizontal. Okay, glue this guy down. Get this on the inside of the card. Remember that your comments count toward the drawing, whether you are watching this live or on replay on my Facebook business page or on my YouTube channel. So make sure that you comment so that you get entered into the drawing. Okay, now I'm going to glue this piece in. There we go. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take this strip. This is just 8.5 inches. I cut it off the bottom of a sheet of cardstock. It's 8.5 inches. I scored it in the middle at 4.25. And then what we're going to do is we're going to fold these pieces back. And the reason I didn't pre-score these folds is because sometimes the paper isn't exactly the right measurement, and then your scores are kind of off. So what I do is I score the middle one, and then I just hand fold the outer ones. So now what I'm going to do is I want it to come out about this far. So I'm going to put adhesive on both ends. Okay. Now, there we go. Make sure it's going the right way. The first time I made this, I put it down this way, and so everything was going the wrong direction. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to place it right about where I want my edge to be on this side. Stick it down. It looks like it's a little bit crooked, so I'm going to straighten it out. Then go ahead and close it. And now we've got that piece done, easy peasy. Then I have all these little pieces. Each one has a gorgeous grape background piece. I have two that the purple is going to be on. So let's go ahead and, I'm sorry, the stripes are going to be on. So let's go ahead and glue that down. There, I couldn't find my glue. Okay. Now let's do the other one. There we go. And then I've also got, let's do our stamping now, okay? So on one of them, we're going to do, actually on two of them, we're doing the hippopotamus. So let me get my ink out. And for the hippopotamus, I'm using Basic Gray, Highland Heather, and Gorgeous Grape. I start with the Highland Heather. I just stuck my finger in it. And I don't have new baby wipes. That's okay. I'll use my Simply Chamois. Get some ink off my fingers there. By the way, if you get ink all over your fingers, the best soap to wash it off is Lava. Lava soap. I bought a bar of it on eBay. Not eBay, I'm sorry, Amazon. And it's got pumice in it, so it washes the ink right off. Another thing you can do is wash your hair because the texture of your hair will help. Okay, find my stamps. This one uses a lot of stamps, this card. Okay, let's get them all out. So first, I've got my little hippopotamus, and this is the little hippopotamus background body that we're going to do with the lighter purple, the Highland Heather. And I did stamp it off because it was still a little darker than what I wanted. There we go. Let's do one more. Stamp it off. There we go. Now I'm going to take, this is the front part of the hippopotamus, and we're going to use the Gorgeous Grape, the darker purple. See if I can open this one without sticking my thumb in it. And you just want to line it up on the purple one or on the Highland Heather one that you just did. See, look at that little guy. Isn't he adorable? I love that he's chubby, which I guess most hippopotamuses are, right? Okay, line that up again. There we go. Clean off my stamp. And then I used the Basic Gray. It makes it a little tough to see his eyes on that dark purple. So you know what? Let's try the black this time just to see if it shows up a little bit better. So here's the stamp of his little face. There's a smile and his little dimple and then his little nose holes. No, it's a smile and his nose holes and his eyes. That's what it is. Nose holes, they're nostrils. Okay. Now, you want to line this up. Because there's little nose holes right there, line it up with the ones on your stamp. Press down. Oh yeah, the black shows up a lot better. Okay. I was afraid the black would be too bold on that light purple, but you just don't see its eyes if you use the gray. Okay. So, we have two little chubby hippopotamuses done. Scoot them out of the way, and we're going to put the black away before I lay something down in it. And now, on one of these, other little squares. We're going to stamp some balloons. Or as my son said when he was a baby, balloons. And what I did here is I stamped a few in Highland Heather. And stamped off a few. There we go, like that. And then get out my gorgeous grape. Here we go. There. Just getting a little bit of extra color there. And then, last but not least, took the going gray, or the basic gray, and used this little stamp. This is the string on the balloons. And I just lined it up to the bottom of my balloons. There. Now I'm going to go ahead and mount these onto my gorgeous grape pieces. There's one. There's one of our little baby hippopotamuses. I don't know that he's a baby. Maybe he's grown up. I like to think he's a baby because he's cute. Okay, now let's just set these aside for a minute. The last thing I'm going to do is I just have a white scrap here. Well, I guess this isn't the last thing, but as far as stamping goes, I'm going to bring out my going gray. And I have two different messages here that I want to stamp. So I'm stamping one there. And it doesn't matter if you get it straight, because we're going to cut this up anyway. Or upside down. Doesn't matter if it's upside down. Okay. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to put these scissors away because I'm not using them anymore. And I'm taking my Hip Hip Hooray, and I'm going to cut it apart into the 3 sections. You know, it's funny, I used to never do this because I can't handle when the cut isn't straight. So this is the first time I've done this, and I'm actually feeling pretty proud of myself for doing it, for one, and I'm feeling pretty okay with how it's turning out. Okay, so I've got my hippo ray, and let's do the hippo birthday. Cut this apart. Okay. Now I'm going to take these ones with the purple. Oh, I'm going to put my ink pad away. I'm going to use my liquid glue here just because the strips are so narrow. And I'm going to stick them down. I like to do this with the hippo being diagonal. Oops, get that little piece on there. Okay, so now we've got that one done. Let's do the hippo birthday. Yeah, let's make that crooked just for grins and giggles. Yeah, Talina, I'm with you. I mean, we have some really beautiful purples and I never use them. No real reason, I just don't. And when I do, I really like what I come up with, so I need to use them more. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I am going to take all these pieces and put my card together. First, let's put the hippo birthday right there and the hip hip hooray there. Okay, so we'll just glue those down. Oh, yeah, that's great. Okay. Now on my first card, just so you see, on this one, I made the lines go this way, just so that it stood out a little more. On this one, I had them go horizontally, so it blends in a little more. It's up to you what you want to do. But on this one over here, I had them go horizontally in order to continue with the flow of the bigger piece. Okay, and now I have these two pieces right here. I'm going to glue those down. These are a little bit trickier just because the fold is already up. But you could put them on before you glue the strip down too. It's a little bit crooked, so I'm trying to peel it off to straighten it. There we go. And let's put a little adhesive on this one. And I'm just holding it in my fingers like this. There we go. So there's the inside of our card. Now let's do the front. So of course I wanted to mount this, use some dimensionals here. I want this to pop up a little bit. So I'll peel my backs off. If you have a hard time getting backs off of these, like if you don't have fingernails or whatever, you take your pick tool, they pop right off. And they're all in one spot. You can just grab them and toss them. Okay, so now I'm putting this guy in the lower right-hand corner. There we go. And what I chose to do different on this one, rather than the bow, is we're going to put some little balloons on there. So I used the dies. There's a die in there for balloons. Come out, little guys. And I have one in Gorgeous Grape, one in Basic White, and one in Highland Heather. And what I'm doing is first, I'm going to put dimensionals on the back of each of these guys. But before I do, I'm flipping it, flip it over. I'm laying my little bit of white baker's twine on there. My fingers keep rolling it out of the way though. Good grief. Let's try this. Stick it to the dimensional and then put the dimensional on. There we go. That worked. Oops, except for that isn't the string I wanted to use because that one's way too long. Oh, you guys, what are you going to do with me? Okay. There we go. Now we're going to take another one. Do the same thing. And do this on our last one. Okay. And then I'm just going to kind of figure out where I want the balloons. If you want to add a little bit more volume here, you could add a couple more balloons even. You know, just cut them out, whatever. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and place them. There we go. I'm going to move this guy over just a little bit so he's... There we go. Now I'm going to pull these down like that for now. I'm going to take this longer bit of baker's twine that I have. I'm going to tie a bow around these. Don't worry about the fact that they're kind of loose and maybe not all the same length or the right length, because we'll fix that in a minute. So just worry about tying your little bow. Get your bow the way you want it. Oops. And I just accidentally untied my bow. Okay, try this again. Now I can pull these taut, fiddle with my bow a little bit. Oops. And once we get our bow the way we want it, then we're going to use a glue dot to glue it, hold it all down in place. So the fact that it's sort of all over the place right now is okay. There. Okay, there we go. So now let's trim some stuff. I'm going to trim the tails on the bow because they don't need to be as long as the other ones. Let's pull these taut again. Trim these so they're all the same length. Now what we can do is take a glue dot and lift it up with my take your pick tool, and we're just going to stick it right on the back side of the knot part of the bow. And that kind of helps you to position the bow too so that it's going the way you want it to. There we go. And there's all of our balloons. I suppose they could have been over just a little bit more. Okay, that's kind of funny. One of my balloons was coming off. You know what? I kind of do want to put them over. Well, I can't. My dimensionals have decided that's where they're going to be. So anyway, okay, so there's that card. I'm not going to belabor that. So we've got it with the bow and with the balloons, 2 different ways to do it, but it's still the same card. So let's clean up my mess here, and then we'll take a look at the different cards we've made tonight. Kind of recap. I hope you guys enjoyed these fun folds. I really enjoyed coming up with them. If you liked what you saw, I would love it if you would give me a thumbs up or like or share the video. All those kind of things help to feed the algorithm that tells the social media platform to share the video, that people might like it. I see Jessica has joined us. Welcome, Jessica. We're just finishing up here, but you can certainly catch the replay either here on my Facebook page or when I upload this to YouTube, which I'll be doing as soon as we're done here. Make sure to say hello and comment so that you get into the drawing for next week. Let's take a look at what we made this week. So we've got card number 1 here with the fun little, it reminds me of a bridge, so I'm going to call it a bridge in the middle. And you can do it with the bow or the balloons. We have our guy card. Oh, look at this. I didn't even fold it right. So I have to fix that, of course. There we go. Ta-da! Put the baker's twine back on here to just hold it down a little bit better. There we go. Our guy card. And then we also have our pink cheetah print card with the belly band that opens this way. And there you go. These are fun folds that you can use for all different cards. They don't have to be the ones we made, of course. And I would love to see some of the things that you come up with when you just when you case these cards. I'd love to see what you make. And you are welcome to share them here on my Facebook page and let everybody see. So if you need to order some supplies to make what I made tonight, or to stock up on what you need, or on those retiring products, please use my website, heathersides.stampinup.net. If your order is under $150, I would love it if you would use this host code. It helps me to be able to continue to provide these videos for free. And then if your order is over $150, then don't use the host code, because you will earn some free products from Stampin' Up! And I want to make sure that you are the one who gets them. So thank you, everybody, for joining me tonight. If you've got anything in specific that you would like to see done on one of these videos, be sure to send me a private message here on Facebook or email me at stamphappenings@gmail.com and let me know what you'd like to see, because I would love to make sure that I am giving you content that matters to you. If I don't come on with any extra special lives during the week, I will see you next Wednesday with a brand new catalog. Bye, everybody.